This is Carl with your weekly livestock update. A couple interesting things happened in the livestock market this week. One of the big things was the feeders. Feeder values taking off, feeder cattle, that is. Anywhere from on heifers $5 to $10 higher than last week. Feeder steers up anywhere from 10 to 15 on heavy demand. The thing is, we're starting to see a bit of a shift in the market. The feeders were very strong, and that supported the market. Another thing that supported the market is that your feeders, livestock feeders, producers, farmers, are not making sales right now. And the way they're looking at it is the high cost of these replacements, if you can find them, just isn't adding up for them. So they're just holding their fats a little bit longer and putting a little extra rig on them. The weekly beef production numbers coming in solidly up 15% from last week, even though our cattle numbers being ran through the chutes were down a little bit. Excuse me, up, but not up as much. Thing is, the weights, the end of week run here, 23 pounds a head heavier on the carcass than we were last year. And that just continues to add red meat to the market. At the same time, consumer demand is not backing off one bit. Demand for the prime ribs going into the holiday season is well above normal. And this is just giving the wholesale market, and the box beef picked up this week finally. And all of this led to some big gains in the cattle futures. We did have, we're starting to get a little top heavy though. The August contract ran into resistance up around that buck 92, finishing the week here on that buck 88. Still very good, but getting a little top heavy. Got to watch the funds in the cattle. Funds are still long about 120,000 cattle contracts, not a record, but at a point where we could start to see some liquidation, some shedding of those contracts as we head into year end. The export market, a little bit mixed this week. Beef sales for 2024 came in at a mere 200 metric tons. Now we did see well into the around 16,000 tons of 2025 beef sales, but the definitely the momentum shifting away from beef demand this year. Looking over at the pork, we had good demand for pork this week. Sales up into the 25,000 metric ton range for 2024, and just about 30,000 metric tons for 2025. Thing we got to watch there, two big buyers on the week, China and Mexico. And they are big pork buyers from the United States, but you got to ask yourself, maybe this is a little preemptive buying ahead of tariffs being enacted. When President-elect Trump takes office, we'll have to wait and see. But demand is demand, and we are selling. Looking at the hog slaughter on the week, it rebounded as well, up from last week. 2.6 million had being run through the processing chains. Chain speed holding pretty steady right now. Like I said, good demand on the pork. Consumer demand in the U.S. a little bit soft, but not enough that it's hurting the market at all. That's the kind of the recap, so to speak, on the red meat trade this week. Nothing real exciting. Looking forward to next week. We'll get the WASD numbers, and the one thing I'm going to be interested on the livestock is to see what the USDA does with beef production, continuing higher weights, see if we come into that a little bit, and also what we do with our beef import outlook. We've been pretty strong here on our beef imports, but with the consumer in the U.S. starting to maybe buy some higher cuts of meat, we might see them trail off a touch, which wouldn't be all bad for our retail markets. Those are some of the top livestock comment stories from the week.